Good evening to everyone. Okay, Pippin I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. But first, I have a question. Growing up, did you ever meet a child or know someone? Maybe, you may have gotten mad at your own parents or somebody else along the line, and you said to yourself, I'm going to run away and join the circus or join the carnival. Kids, get mad, and they say things like that. But there are people really out there in life who really run away and join carnivals or circuses. That happened to me. I didn't run away and join a circus or a carnival. My sister did. My sister had a little boy at the time. He was probably 5, 6 years old, and I was trying to help my sister kind of like put her life together, get a job, get a car, get her own place. And so I let her move in with me. And one day I went to work and I came home and she was gone. She literally quit everything and gave up everything that I had helped her build and get her a footstep in the right direction in life. She ran away with the carnival. Now, why am I telling you this story? Because years later, about 20 years later, I was sitting in my living room one day when my sister came to visit. Was staying in my house with her, not a little boy anymore. He was almost an adult teenager. She happened to see me watching a Lamont, on the run, or maybe it was Black Bigelow, but it was one of Lamont's channels. And she said, "Hey, I know who that is. That's Lamont." And I said, "Yeah." She said, "He used to work the same carnival circuit as we did." And I'm like, "Cool." So there's a personal connection to Lamont. I don't know him personally, but I've been a subscriber to Lamont's content, his channels, and everything, for quite a few years. I really couldn't tell you how long or which channel I've been a subscriber of the longest. So that's my connection to Lamont. My sister worked the same carnival circuit as he did. Now she works for the United States Post Office, but anyway, she did that for a couple of years. And good evening, Sal, left-handed RN, and Alita. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Why is it highlighting everybody? There. I don't want it to highlight everyone. But no, Lamont gave me a shout out. I think it was on At Large, his At Large channel, when I was reporting on and covering the legal of Jared, one of the co-founders of Adventures with Perverts, as I call it, and that's what he called it as well, Lamont. But he said, go check out his channel, and I, along with giving me a shout out, in that episode, that he did. Yeah, I got quite a few people who checked out my channel. I wouldn't say that I gained a lot of subscribers or anything from it, but it was really nice of him to say, "Hey, look, here's someone else who's doing something awesome. Go check out their content." I think Lamont does an awesome job. I personally like his graveyard tours, the most. I mean, after Hollywood Graveyard, I like Hollywood Graveyard, the YouTube channel, but Lamont's graveyard, visits and tours are very interesting because they're not necessarily people who are famous. Joe Tallchief. Good evening, Joe Tallchief. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Going to get something to drink and then I'll be right back. All right. You do that, Joe Tallchief. Hope the weather is treating you well. I have a buddy who is currently working in Hibbing, Minnesota. And I guess some kind of old mine shaft or something. But he normally is working on the dam projects, like waterway dams. But they sent him to Minnesota to work on something that the major important he has to get done. Well, I think Pippa, a lot of us, as we work, we've gotten better at our crafts. I mean, looking back, it's cringeworthy to watch some of my earlier videos. I think I've gotten better at it. At least I hope I have. Give it a couple more seconds here. We've got about 30 seconds, and then we're going to get to the next trivia going. But I want to thank everyone again for being here tonight for trivia. All the trivia questions tonight are on Gerald Stano. Gerald Stano. He may not be the most, name recognized individual, but he's still an horrific serial killer. Gerald Stano. All right. Good evening, Lemon Pie. And good evening to you as well, Sprinkled Donut. Welcome to tonight's trivia. This is the 366th episode of trivia. Tonight we are answering questions about Gerald Stano, the serial killer, Gerald Stano. This trivia night strictly adheres to factual evidence and verified data from the FBI, Department of Justice, and Scotland Yard whenever needed. It does not include conspiracy theories, speculations, or unverified claims about what may have happened. If you're seeking sensationalism or content related to similar theories or lies spread by those who can't be bothered to do the research on the topic, this event and topic may not be the right fit for you. This program documents actual crimes and offenses by criminals. Some of the content covered here may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Oh, Lita has never heard of Gerald Stano. And before we get going, if you're not currently a subscriber, or if you think that you look below this actual picture on your screen and it says subscribe and it is solid white, that means you are not currently a subscriber. So go ahead and click on that subscriber button. It's absolutely free to do. Without any further delay, let's get ready to rumble on some trivia. Question number 1. Gerald Stano wrote 10 to 15 letters a week to anyone that gave him money. What is Garfield doing here in this picture? I know it's going to be almost impossible if you are seeing this on a cell phone in a vertical format. Quickly tap your screen to change to a horizontal and zoom in on the picture. What is Garfield doing here? Is he A, pouring out a beer, B, holding a whip, or C, holding a bunch of wires, or D, is Garfield standing in a puddle of pee? What is Garfield doing in this picture? Oops, I forgot to put myself in my little window. Hello, there's Will in his little window. I almost forgot. Oopsie. What is Garfield doing? If you're not familiar with Gerald Stano, maybe tonight you'll learn something new and you'll want to research him or read about him as well. There are quite a few videos on Gerald Stano on YouTube and on Facebook. There are groups of people who are like-minded, who are interested in serial killers and their history. And there are quite a few groups, private groups and public groups on Facebook as well. Good evening, Lisa. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Lisa. All right, the correct answer to question number one is B as in boy. Garfield is holding a cattail whip in his hand. Law enforcement was never sure why he drew cattail whips in all of his letters. He never used one in his crime spree. Every letter had one, though, drawn somewhere in the letters pages. They were not always of Garfield holding one. Sometimes he just drew the actual whip itself, and this is called a cattail whip. Every one of the letters that he wrote to everybody, as far as they know, he drew one of these somewhere. In several letters, the cattail whip would be, if it was supposed to be a capital T, like the letter T, as like in tell or to or tomorrow, he would draw a cattail whip in place of the capital T. Nobody knows why he actually did it. Again, he never used one ever in his crime spree or murders. It's just something about Gerald Stano that nobody ever knew, and he never would answer questions about. Question number two. What was Gerald Stano's birth name before he was adopted? Was it A, Polly Shore, B, Polly Ziegner, B, Baron Trump, or D, Baron Kell III? What was Gerald Stano's birth name before he was adopted? In case you're wondering, Gerald Stano was adopted when he was 6 months old. Well, Lisa, they did. Several people did reach out and ask him why he drew cattail whips, and he refused to answer the question. At the Crime Museum that is in Los Angeles, California, they have several letters that are on display from Gerald Stano. And when the correspondence, these are not from the people who own the museum, it's other people who wrote to Gerald. And they asked, why do you keep on drawing these cattail whips? Does this thing symbolize, or is it important to you? He never answered the question. Nobody knows. And he's gone, so we're never going to get an answer from it. For Jerry Seinfeld, this lemon pie. Good evening, QQQ. Question number two. The correct answer is B as in boy. Paul Ziegner was his birth name before being adopted at the age of 6 months of age. Question number three. Physical and mental abuse was very common in the Stano house. What did Norma Stano, that's his adoptive mother, Norma Stano, use to beat Gerald with from the age of 6 months on with? Was A, a belt, B, a wooden cutting board, C, her fist, or D, an electrical cord? Yes. From the age of 6 months old onward, Norma Stano was physically and mentally abusive to little Gerald. Got a lot of D answers for question number 3 of 20. Yes. Question number 3. The correct answer is actually A belt. She used a belt, and she used to hang on the door near the front entrance to the home. And whenever Gerald got out of line, she used it to beat him with. That is not by the admission of Gerald, but he was asked about it later on when the detective, who we will get into later on, was asking him questions. He asked him about the countless times that the law enforcement were called to the home, or concerned neighbors had interjected themselves because she didn't care where she was when she whipped this boy. She did it in the yard, she did it in the car, she did it everywhere. It didn't matter. 6 months of age onward. No wonder why he turned out the way he did, right? Question number 4. Which mental disorder did Gerald Stano have all the signs of by age 8? Was it A, bipolar disorder, B, manic depression, C, antisocial personality, or D, sociopathic tendencies? Question number 4 of 20. Which mental disorder did Gerald Stano have all the signs of by age 8? And before anyone asks, no, Gerald Stano was not diagnosed by the age of 8. He just displayed all of the symptomology of this mental health disorder. He was not diagnosed professionally by the age of 8. Good evening, Caleb. Jersey Shore fandom. He was a fan of the Jersey Shore by the age of 8. He definitely was losing it. Question number 4. The answer to question number 4 is C as in cat. He had all of the symptoms of antisocial personality disorder by the age of 8. Everyone in school and everyone else around him could see it and knew it. He was, had all of the symptomology that checked the boxes for antisocial personality disorder by the age of 8, and it wouldn't get any better. Question number 5. What truly bizarre prank did Gerald Stano pull that got him expelled from grade school? Was it A, he put human feces on the teacher's desk? B, he put a dead cat in the teacher's car? C, he peed in the classroom's turtle cage? Or D, he exposed himself to the entire class? Question number 5 of 20. What truly bizarre prank did Gerald Stano pull that got him expelled from grade school? You must have read some other untrue things. Question number 5 of 20. What truly bizarre prank did Gerald Stano pull that got him expelled from grade school? The correct answer is A, as in apple. He put human feces on the desk and in the drawer of his teacher's desk at school, and then waited for her to sit down at the desk and see the human feces smeared on the desk and in the drawer. Yeah, he did that, and he got expelled from school. And I'm sure his mother, you know, took a belt to him after that, and even more. Did you know detectives initially were very skeptical of Gerald Stano's confessions because the victims were all different age, race, and had a different MO for how they were killed. In the end, it turned out he just liked different victims. So let's, for example, take a look at Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy had a certain victim that he always was looking for, a woman that was skinny, professional dress, not what Ted Bundy, in his own words, called slutty. He wanted them to be tall, skinny, and professional with long brown hair. All of Ted Bundy's victims fit that description. They are all surrogates for his, broken relationship with his fiance after she broke off the entire relationship with him. They all look like a younger version of her. Gerald Stano it didn't matter if you were African American, Indian, white, black, he didn't care. He didn't care if you were young, he didn't care if you were a little bit heavier set, he didn't care about at all. And they're like, no, but serial killers have victimology, that they look for, but not Gerald Stano. He didn't care. FBI files, a collection of noteworthy details and insights from the FBI files on case files on serial killers and spree killers. Whenever possible, I post musings about tonight's actual subject matter. Otherwise, these are just general musings from the FBI files. In the confessions of Gerald Stano, the FBI notes he confessed to killing 4 women in Canada. All 4 of these possible victims in Canada are still listed as missing, and that is as of 2023. All of them are still listed as missing, and no information is known about them. At the time, it was known that Stano did travel to Canada for work. It's just that he didn't work in the area where these 4 women were all, reported missing from. And yes, all 4 of the women that disappeared that are still listed as missing were indigenous to Canada, indigenous Native American from Canada. All 4 of them are still listed as missing. But Gerald, confessed that he killed these 4 women. Is there a chance that he went from where they knew he traveled to Canada up near Nova Scotia for work? Could he have traveled across Canada to actually kill these women there? Not all the way across, but halfway across the country. Excuse me. It is a possibility. He did confess to it, and he knew a lot of details about it. And that is something that, if you look at a lot of the confessions that Gerald Stano gave to the FBI and the detectives who were working his case before he went to trial, and then afterwards while he was on death row, a lot of times the confessions that he would give lacked any real hard evidence. He would talk in generalities a lot, like I killed this woman, at in this city, and I discarded her near, a wooded forest area. That's how his confession would be. Or I killed this woman, and this is her name, and this is what I did with her. And that would be the end of it. He didn't go into great details about any one murder ever, except for these 4 women that he confessed to killing in Canada. He went into detail about where they were, how he got them, everything. Back to the next question. Question number 6. Court records are not exactly very clear. However, they do indicate that Gerald may have had how many siblings? Is it A, 7, B, 4, C, 1, or D, 9? And I should have made this question more clear, so please listen to what I'm about to say. We are trying to find out how many possible siblings he had from his biological parents, mother and father, not the adopted ones, the biological one, mother and father only. How many siblings did Gerald have when he was adopted at the age of 6 months? Sal was hungry, but not anymore. He was an equal opportunity killer. Yeah, I guess that'd be a good way to put it, Joe Tall Chief. Caleb, your son is in a real silly mood and you can't stop giggling. My son gets into those moods too. But court records are not exactly very clear. However, they do indicate that Gerald may have had how many siblings? Never saw a clear number. Says Pippadot. I don't know what the weather is like where you guys are today, but it's a nice, calm 100 degrees here today where I am. Right now outside, it is 100 degrees. Yay. You love it when your son's a giggling little monster? All right, the answer to question number 6 is B as in boy. There may have been 4 siblings when they put little Gerald up for adoption, that they just could not care for another child. So he may have had 4. The court records for Gerald's adoption were sealed, and they were only unsealed as part of the investigation into his background, and they were trying to find if there was a connection somewhere between his biology and if he was how did he become a serial killer, and they're trying to make that actual connection. An actual professor actually got the record unsealed. It does say that in the record, though, that he had older siblings. They would have been teenagers at the time of Gerald's actual birth. So maybe the parents just like, hey, man, we just can't afford this kid. There's no real definition of reason why they gave up Gerald. Obviously it became Gerald later on, but four possible siblings are out there of Gerald. Maybe they're alive. I don't know. I haven't seen the record, just what's in the FBI file. Question number 7. Gerald Stano worked where as an adult that fueled his desire for control and power? Was it A, the U.S. Senate, B, a local city council, C, a state psychiatric hospital, or D, a police department? Question number 7 of 20. Gerald Stano worked where as an adult that fueled his desire for control and power. 90 there in Tennessee. It's still livable though. Joe Tallchief had a really good thunderstorm. I was telling everyone earlier, Joe Tallchief, my buddy, he'd been working for the last couple of years on the repair of dams, structurally fixing dams that are failing, like dams on rivers and lakes and stuff like that. But they just sent him to Hibbing. He is now working in Hibbing, Minnesota, in some kind of capacity, working on something to hold back contaminated water from, a mined operation or something. It's not something he's normally been doing. Again, he's been working on dams, but this is a kind of a dam project for contaminated water. But he is in Hibbing. I do not know how long he will be there. But after he's done in Hibbing, he's going to Oklahoma. Question number 7. Gerald Stano worked where as an adult? That fueled his desire for control and power? You would think that it would be the U.S. Senate, but it's not. He worked in a state psychiatric hospital. He worked in a state psychiatric hospital. C as in cat is the correct answer. Next one. Question number 8. What state did Gerald Stano primarily kill in for many years? Was it A, New Jersey, B, North Carolina, C, New York, or D, Florida? Question number 8 of 20. What state did Gerald Stano primarily kill in for many years? Sorry about that. It's only 86 degrees, but it feels like Texas, that dry heat. It is 100 degrees here right now. The bottom part of my screen, it actually shows the temperature. No wind, nothing at all, just dead heat. That has 2 answers. Question number 8 of 20. I started opening windows this morning and then stopped. Don't want the state bird to fly in and carry you away. Question number 8 of 20. The correct answer. Hippodot nailed it. The correct answer is, if you answered either A or D, you are correct for question number 8. If you answered A or D, you are correct. Hippodot caught on to that. Good for Hippodot. All right, question number 9. M is for murder. D is for drugs. What illegal drugs helped fuel Stano's urge to kill and torture more? Was it A, LSD, B, marijuana, C, PCP, or D, heroin? Question number 9 of 20. M is for murder. D is for drugs. What illegal drug or drugs helped fuel Stano's urge to kill and torture more? Hippodot is stumped on this one. We got C, a C, and a D. The photograph you see here of Gerald Stano was taken while he was on death row, but he's not actually in death row in the photo. He was on death row, but he was awaiting transportation from a local courthouse, and they snapped his photograph along with each and every person who was sitting in the jury box. They were all either doing life or they were on death row at the time. But Dod's going with a double question mark? I don't know. I don't know. Could be. Question number 9. If you answered either B or D, you are correct. B or D, you are correct. Marijuana and heroin. He was a avid, junkie, a heroin junkie at one point in his life when he was living in the state of New Jersey. But after moving away and out of the state of New Jersey, he started smoking more marijuana and stopped using heroin. That is according to Gerald Stano himself in one of his interviews that he did towards the end of his life before he died. Question number 10 of 20. How many murder confessions did Gerald Stano give after his sentence and clearly before death? Was it A, 23, B, 41, C, 19, or D, 56? How many murder confessions did Gerald Stano give after he was sentenced and clearly before he died? You never find his drug of choice. The interview where he talks about his drug use was KLEW, I think is their call letters for the TV station out of Miami-Dade County in Florida. It was one of the last interviews that he gave. You can find the video if you go to the Internet Archives website and you type in Gerald Stano. You can find the actual interview there. Lita's going with A, Pippa A, Joe Tall Chief B, Sal C, Ivory Lady B. Pippa Dot's changing to 41. He did. He very, very much did, Pippa Dot. He changed his total confession in number a lot. But after he was sentenced, that's the part we're looking at. After he was sentenced, how many did he confess to after that and before death? Lieutenant RN is going with A. The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, to question 10 is, in fact, A, 23. After he was sentenced to die, Gerald Stano confessed to 23 murders total. Again, he had other confessions before then, but his total, Pippa Dot, you are correct, is 41 is his total confessions. But after he was sentenced and before death, he confessed to 23 murders. Did you know? No media hype, no protests outside of the prison on the day of execution, no t-shirt sales. Why? He wasn't as famous as Bundy or Gacy, yet may have killed more. Gerald Stano probably had a higher body count than Bundy. Bundy, they believe, may have killed as close to 80, but there's no actual real proof of that, besides his number. But Gacy, still, but he wasn't as popular. That is the first 10 questions. Your break does not officially start until I read the first case. But I am working with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the Charlie Project, the FBI, and NamUs, along with state and local law enforcement agencies, to shine a spotlight on active cold case missing people from across the United States. Statistics on those who are missing: 71% of adults 17 years of age plus who are reported missing fall into these categories below. The rest are unknown and are listed as missing and endangered. Those are the ones that I cover. The ones that I cover do not necessarily fall into these. They may, but nobody knows. They're just missing and listed as endangered. But up to 71% of those who disappear every year, they fall into these, listed from number 1 to the least. Moved, they change their name, married, or illegally change their name, and or next is they start a life underneath a new identity. Suicide, and the remains are not found. Avoiding an abusive relationship, and that's why someone reports them missing. Maybe the abuser reports them missing. Avoiding collectors is the next one. Hey, you got the old too much money on everything, and you just can't seem to come above water, and you're sinking. Just walk away from it all. People do it every day, and the least number up to 71% of those who disappear, they are dead and they are not identified. They are listed as a Jane or John Doe only. And this is of June 30th of 2025. Approximately 600,000 Americans are reported missing each and every year. The vast majority of these individuals are found, with a large portion being located shortly after being reported missing within 90 days of the 600,000. Do not forget that J.C. Dugard was missing for 18 years before she was, recovered and brought back home. 18 years. Hope is real. 29% is what it leaves us of the hundreds of thousands of missing people who are listed as missing and endangered. Those are the cases that I highlight. These families need your help. If you know anything, please reach out and contact law enforcement or the tip line numbers that I provide for each case. And I'm going to keep on, putting a spotlight on April Dawn Andrews. And that is a real number if you know anything about where April Dawn Andrews is. And this is an age progressed photo of what she may look like today. Time for a break. Your break officially starts now for the next 7 minutes. 7 minutes is your break. The first case tonight is Gina Michelle Enoy. She is 59 years old as of January of 2025. She has turned 59 years of age. She is a Caucasian female. She disappeared on 7/10 of 2015 from Jacksonville, Florida. She is 5'2", 125 to 140 pounds, with hazel eyes, brown grayish hair. Her hair was graying at the time she disappeared, and no known tattoos, but she does have a medical condition, that which I will cover in just a second. And this goes by her middle name of Michelle, and was last seen in the Riverside area of Jacksonville, Florida on July 10th, 2015. She left a friend's home on Stockton Street in Edison Avenue to walk to the store. Please pay attention if you live in the Jacksonville, Florida area. She may be a man who is referred to by his street name of Striker or Strike, and he may be keeping her from contacting family and friends. If they are together, they might be camping in a wooded area and not seeking help with either a shelter or state services. Again, if she is alive and well, she may be with this individual who is only known by his street name of Striker or Strike. And this is according to her friend that she was last known to have seen on July 10th of 2015. Although she was homeless at the time of her disappearance, she never went more than a few days without getting in touch with family members. Her case remains unsolved. Medical condition that I noted earlier. Ennis sustained a traumatic brain injury in the 1990s and had part of her frontal lobe of her brain removed. The brain injury affects her judgment, and she is easily manipulated by other people. And apparently, from what a lot of people said, is that she was hanging out with this man only known as Striker, but nobody could describe him other than she said that she was hanging out with Striker or Strike. All right. You can, if you know anything about where she is, Michelle is today, you can contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office at 904-630500. Or you cannot remain anonymous by calling the Jacksonville Police Sheriff's Department. But you can remain anonymous if you want to by leaving a tip at the Facebook group missinghomeless.org. That is their Facebook group for missing people primarily in the state of Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida, is where they work on trying to identify homeless people, along with the group Name Us is working closely with them. If you know anything about where Michelle may be, please reach out today. Her family wants to know she is all right, and if she wants to be with this individual, great. That's up to her. They just want to know she's alive and well. Okay, again, she's been missing over 10 years, but if she very well may be alive out there today. Next is Robert J. Hoek. He is 28 years old. Right now, his birthday is later this year. He is a Caucasian male. He was last seen on 3/4 of 2022. He vanished from New Lenox, Illinois. He is 5'11", 175 to 185 pounds with hazel eyes, brown hair. Yes, he does have tattoos, and no, he does not have any medical condition that are known. He is a Caucasian male with brown hair, hazel eyes. Hoek has a tattoo on his left forearm that shows a monkey with its hands over its eyes and the phrase, "I see evil." The monkey has hands over its ear with the phrase, "I hear evil," and a monkey with his hands over its mouth that says, "I don't speak." A photo of this tattoo is posted with this case summary. He also has a tattoo on his right forearm and a tattoo on his left upper arm. No photos of the other two tattoos. Was last seen on March 4th of 2022. His disappearance is listed as disappeared under suspicious circumstances. He left behind a bank account with thousands of dollars in it, his truck, and other personal items. He has never been heard from again. Few details are known about what happened to him. If you know anything about what may have happened to him, you can contact the New Lenox Police Department at 815-485-2500. And sadly, you cannot remain anonymous at the Lenox Police Department number either. But you can, if you are outside of the area, you can leave a tip with several other places as well. His case was last updated on January 10th of 2025 with new tips and possible leads to what may have happened to him. Again, he is listed as suspicious, disappeared under suspicious circumstances. If you want to support this channel and content, you can go to any one of these three that are links that are on your screen to support this channel. Break isn't over with yet. You still have time left before we start the second half. So shotgun that beer quickly or whatever you're doing. You do you. You have exactly 1 minute left before break is over with. 1 minute. And no, Pepita, I did not know that. I know there was some serious accusations about improprieties in the actual adoption for, Stano. I'm sure he did want the love and attention. I'm sure after being adopted, all he wanted was somebody to love him, pay attention. Why do you adopt a kid just for the financial resources? And then you have to put up with mental and physical abuse your entire life. He was definitely given a raw deal. When am I leaving on vacation? Next month, the third week of August. Okay, we went a little bit past our 1 minute. Time for the second half of tonight's trivia. Question number 11 is now on your screen. What state did Gerald Stano commit his first murder in? Was it A, New Jersey, B, Florida, C, Alabama, or D, New York? What state did Gerald Stano commit his first murder in? Question number 11 of 20. Sal smoking a cig and drinking tequila. Not really. Yeah, there's that one couple from Nebraska that adopted 9 children. I think it was total, or they were, I can't remember if it was, I think it was 9. It might have been 7. But these were children with barriers to education, to learning. And they adopted them all, and then they made them all go to work and earn money for the family at their business. Plus, they got the resources from the state for adopting or having them as temporary foster children. There are people who do some really disgusting things, and there's not enough oversight in the entire thing. And I know a lot of people have negative, feelings about, child protective services, and rightfully so. There are some really awful ones out there, but overall, a vast majority of them are trying to do the right thing. Question number 11. The correct answer is A as in apple. He committed his first murder in the state of New Jersey. Question number 12. What were the two preferred methods Stano used to murder? Was it A, stabbing or strangulation, B, drugs or stabbing, C, drowning or electricity, or D, strangulation or shooting? What were the two preferred methods to murder someone that Stano used? He did. You remember his last meal, Pippadot? Well, we're going to get into that. That's on tonight's trivia. And he definitely had a large meal, Sal. Rackard. Good evening, Rackard. I didn't get notification this time. I always get notifications. I don't understand why. Not this time. That's the YouTube system for you, Rackard. That's the YouTube system. Sometimes I get notification when I go live because I subscribe to this channel from one of my other channels. And sometimes I get notifications. Sometimes I don't at all. But I hope you are having a great day today. Staying safe out there. My dad got me into true crime. He really got into the Manson murders. The doors to the house where Sharon Tate was murdered are now part of Interscope Records. That is the record label owned by Trent Reznor, the lead singer for 9 Inch Nails. His recording studio, he bought the doors off of the house before it was bulldozed. So there's a little trivia for you on the Manson murder house. And another little thing about the murder, the Manson murders. Sharon Tate, while growing up, lived here in the community that I live in now. When she was in high school, she attended Columbia High School, and she was Miss Tri-City Atomic. That is a beauty pageant for the hydroplane races that they have this weekend. But she was Miss Tri-Cities Atomic. They've now shortened it to Miss Atomic, but that's what the pageant was called back then. Her father relocated her here. He was not a colonel, but he was close to that at the time with the Army Corps of Engineers. And the home that they lived in is still standing to this day. But the people who own it know very well that the Tate family lived in that home, and they are supreme assholes about anyone who stops by and looks at their house or photographs it. And they have no qualms about calling the police on anyone who comes near their home. My uncle loved down the street from the Manson. Lived down the street. I'm guessing that's what you meant. Question number 12. The correct answer is A. A is an apple. Stano's two preferred methods of murdering these women were stabbing or strangulation. Question number 13. During his confession with Detective Paul Crowe, Stano said his motive to kill was what? A desire to see victim naked. B, he felt insulted by the victim. Or D, desire to watch them die. Or D, he felt a sexual desire for them. Question number 13 of 20. During his confession with Detective Paul Crowe, Stano said his motive to kill was it's in the hundreds where you are, Rykart. It's 100 here too. Question number 13 of 20. Yeah. What was it? What was it that Charlie wanted to do? He wanted to start a race war when he, and that's why he sent his followers to execute the everyone in the house. I think that's what it was. Is Tex Watson still alive? Someone should Google that, see if Tex Watson is still alive. Because he missed watching the Jersey Shore. Question number 13. The correct answer is B as in boy. He felt insulted by the victim. So that brings up an interesting question. How did Stano get most of his victims? Stano would target his victims if they were walking alone or walking at night. He would pull up and offer them a ride. That was the thing that he did the most is, oh, I want to help you. Oh, you have a flat tire? You need help? Let me help you. And if they said no, or they were slighted, or they told him to get away, or whatever, he felt insulted by it, which drove him to want to kill them even more. Question number 14. Stano confessed to murdering 41 women. How many women connected him are still missing as of 2023? Is it A, 11, B, 5, C, 19, or D, 3? Charlie was also looking for Doris Day's son, Terry Melcher. So Tex Watson is still alive? Must have been a mechanic. Not really. He was a handyman. He did odd jobs most of his life, Stano. I wouldn't say that he had any one trait that was, or skill that was, more important or useful than anything else. He was pretty good at killing people. Mechanics love to fix vehicles and don't ever tell them not to help you fix your vehicle. Question number 14. How many women that were connected to Gerald Stano, are still missing as of 2023? The correct answer is D, 3. And all 3 of those women as of 2023 are the Native American women who he confessed to in Canada that he said he killed. He said he killed 4. They believe that they have found the remains, but they could not find a complete skeletal remains of the lady, but they believe it is for her because of other pieces of clothing or identifying things that were found with the body that were known to be with that in particular victim. But she is still listed on, all of them are still listed as missing and endangered, even though they have the body of 1 possible. But there are 3 still missing. And of course, again, they are all of the women from Canada who were connected to him. Take that for what it's worth. All right, question number 15. Executed for his crimes, what prison was Stano in when he met his final fate? Was it A, Pelican Bay in California, B, Mankato in Minnesota, C, Ralford in Florida, or D, Dallas in Texas? What prison was he at when he met his final fate? Dippadot, I flopped. I'm burning the book I read. Don't burn the book. Has Will's pick been in the corner this entire time? Yes. I hope you see me. I'm right here. Got a lot of C's on this one. All right, question number 15. The correct answer is C, as in cat. And for the record, for everyone, I don't think there is a prison in Mankato, Minnesota. I know that there is a prison in Stillwater, but I just randomly picked a place in Minnesota for B as a possible answer. I don't know if there's an actual prison or any kind of correction, other probably like a county jail or a city jail, but I know Stillwater State Penitentiary, but I don't think there is one in Mankato. All right, next. Did you know during Stano's murder trial, he smiled or chuckled during victims' testimony? And when the state read the victims were how the victims were murdered, twice the judge removed him from the court because he would not stop laughing or chuckling, and otherwise he sat and stared at the actual person giving testimony. He just being a basic creep during the entire trial. Question number 16. What item did Stano order as part of his final meal that wasn't able to be supplied? Was it A, strawberry tarts, B, rhubarb pie, C, lemon bars, or D, snickerdoodle cookies? What item, as part of his final meal, was unable to be supplied? Two cells away. The dot. 2 cells. He was 2 cells away from good old Teddy. S'mores. Make a graham cracker s'more. I mean, you're going to use electricity, right? S'mores done. Excuse me. Crap, I only knew what he did get. Well, let's see. That's coming up, Pippidot. Let's see if you remember. I'll give you a bonus if you can tell me and the everyone else playing along tonight. Do you know how much they spent on his final meal? Bonus for anybody that can come close to the total. Anybody, if you know what the total cost was for Stano's final meal. All right, question number 16 though. The one item that was not able to be supplied is A as in apple. He wanted strawberry tarts. They're like a little pastry, but they were unable to fulfill that part of his request for his dessert for his final meal. What did Stano have as his final meal? Stano's final meal consisted of the following: a steak from Delmonico's restaurant, hash browns with butter, peas cooked in garlic and rosemary, a side salad with almonds and French dressing, cherry tomatoes with sea salt that were on the salad itself, soda, grape and lemon lime, and garlic sourdough bread with whipped butter. So, with that said, how much did this meal entirely cost? Take a little added break here. If anybody want to guess on how much they spent on his final meal before we get back to the trivia. How much did they spend? The More You Know moment on NBC. $50, $95. Getting closer. Rykart's going with 150. No wonder some prisons no longer do last meals, particularly in the state of Texas, Joe Tall Chief. In the state of Texas, it don't matter what you want. You get what everybody else is having on that day. They won't make you anything at all that is special for your last meal. Left-hand RN is going with $25. All right, let's get back to the trivia here, and I will give you the answer in just a second. All right, his last meal cost $178.15. He had a total budget of $160, but they could not supply the actual tart, and they let it slide that it went over, it was close enough to the total. Now, in the state of Florida, if an inmate wants a special request, its last meal, it has to be made from things that are found at the penitentiary that they would have. They don't have steak. You're not getting steak. If you want meatloaf or something else in the state of Florida before they execute you, you can request meatloaf if they have the item there on the penitentiary grounds. They are no longer going out to restaurants to buy all of the food to feed you your last meal. But he went over by what, $18? It was close enough for them. Steak from Delmonico's, baked potato, sour cream, baked salad, blue cheese, lima beans, half a gallon of mint chocolate chip. It's not what I have here on the FBI in his execution list. Close. It's still a large meal. All right, question number 17. We should get to this one. What famous death row inmate was housed 2 cells away from Stano? We already had talked about that a little bit. And was executed 2 months before him. Was it A, Chad Daybell, B, Ted Bundy, C, Charles Cullen, or D, Richard Bachman? Who is 2 cells away from Stano? Stano. Yeah. Is James Byrd the one that ordered all that food and then didn't eat any of it at all? But there are quite a few states that that have curtailed the last meal rights of an individual. It's only what can be made on and from food that can be found there. Um, and then there are other ones who, like Texas, you get what everybody else is making. We're not giving you anything special at all because you're gonna be dead. Then there are other ones that still have a budget in place. They say, look, it's got to be under $200 for your last meal. But more commonly, though, a lot of states are moving away from the use of the death penalty. Particularly, again, the most recent is the state that I live in, Washington State. The governor, Jay Inslee, abolished the death penalty in Washington State. And everyone who was on death row was resentenced to life without the possibility of parole if they had a death sentence. So now death row is empty in our state, and all those people have been moved to a completely different housing unit within the penitentiary. So, yay. Some people, regardless of where you are on the use of the death penalty, an eye for an eye, there are some people that just deserve to die. Question number 17. The correct answer is B, as in boy. Ted Bundy was 2 cells away from Stano at the time. He was executed a couple of months prior. Question number 18. Final words before death. Did Gerald Stano have anything to say or nothing at all? Is it A, I'm ready to die now? B, I'm innocent of nothing? C, didn't say a word? Or is it D, kiss my ass, warden? Question number 18 of 20. Final words before death. Did Gerald Stano have anything to say or nothing at all? Is Chatty Boy, Chad Daybell, is he waiting execution? The likelihood is, Reichard, that Chad Daybell will die in prison before they ever execute him. In the state of Idaho, they very infrequently use the death penalty, and I think that there are six individuals, the last time I looked at it, who are in line to be executed in Idaho before Chad. Lori did not get the death penalty in Idaho, and she will not get one in Arizona either. But both of them will die behind the prison walls. Is it cheaper to sentence someone to life in prison without the possibility of parole or put them to death? Yes. If you consider the cost to the state and federal government when it comes to the appeals process, you add up the cost of attorneys and legal and time and clogging up our courts with appeals of a death sentence. Yes, it is far more expensive to execute someone and go through that entire process of sentencing and everything else than it is to put someone in prison without the possibility of parole. Yes, they still have appeals, but those appeals are not as lengthy, and nor are they as costly to the actual state itself and to the taxpayer. He said quite a few things, proclaimed innocence. Does tip a dot? Question number 18. The correct answer is A as in apple. The last thing he said as he was being led to the chair is, "I'm ready to die now." When strapped to the chair and to be executed, he didn't say anything. He mumbled I wouldn't say it was a Bible verse, but it was something, a motto of his that he always said. Basically referring to himself in a third party. But he did not have any final words to say. But the last thing he officially said was, "I'm ready to die now." Question number 19. What did Stano claim to have done after every murder that made it difficult to connect him to the murders? Was it A, he resumed life as normal? B, he shaved his entire body of hair? C, he washed every victim with bleach? Or D, he cleaned every crime scene? Question number 19 of 20. What did Stano claim to have done after every murder? Sorry, I'm watching my ring cam. I'll be with you guys in just a minute. Huh. Okay. He shaved his eyebrows. Question number 19. The correct answer is A as in apple. He resumed life as normal. Every time he killed another one of his victims, he just went back and lived life as if nothing had happened. He didn't do anything out of the ordinary. He didn't move. He didn't try to cover his tracks. He just did it and then went right back to doing whatever else he had to do that day. Went back to living life as normal after every homicide. Question number 20. In one of his interviews with Detective Paul Crowe, Stano referred to himself as what? A, God. B, devil. C, protector of morals. Or D, the ghost of Clyde Barker. In one of his interviews, question number 20 of 20, in one of his interviews with Paul Crowe, Stano referred to himself as what? Yep, he pretended just to be an average Joe, just a hard-working man, trying to get by. Good evening, Purple. I hope you had a great weekend. In one of his interviews with Detective Paul Crow, Stano referred to himself as what? Clyde Barker, Bonnie and Clyde, gangsters, Clyde Barker. I'm guessing. I got this question off of another site altogether. Would think that's Clyde Barker, Bonnie and Clyde, yeah. Okay, question number 20. The correct answer is C as in cat. He referred to himself as the protector of morals. When Paul Crow asked him, why did you pick these women? He said that he picked them because they were dressed inappropriately or they were dressed like whores, basically. And he used other words, and I'm trying to keep it as PG as possible for this. But he said that he, was the protector of morals, and that these women were bad girls, and that they needed to be taught a because of the way that they were dressed. That's Gerald Stano's, words. Okay, is it wrong? Of course, it's wrong. Who made him the moral police? But that's how he referred to himself. During Gerald Stano's last interview he said to the reporter as he stood up to walk away, "You can't kill what's already dead." How did you do on tonight's trivia? This is completely optional to give yourself a letter grade. Some people like to do it, give themselves a letter grade to keep track of everything. Of the 20 questions tonight, I would have gotten 12 of the 20 correct. I would have gotten myself a good C. Not a B, not an A, but I would have gotten a C. Some of the questions on tonight's trivia, I had no idea about at all. I was like, okay, I noted them down. I'm going to have to read up on them more, but we only play for fun and entertainment here. None of us are any better at this. Some people may know a little bit more about one subject or person than others, but we're only playing for fun and entertainment. Here's your sneak peek at this week's poll question. Should the state have restrictions on how much they spend of taxpayers' money to prosecute an individual for non-violent crimes? Yes, no, maybe, depends on the case, or no opinion. Let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein more. Should the state have restrictions on how much of taxpayer money they spend on prosecuting an individual for non-violent crimes? You can answer it now. Ask questions about this poll question, or wait until tomorrow and answer it on the community tab here on YouTube. You always learn something I've related. Well, that's what we're all here for: entertainment and to learn something new. Again, there's the links for if you want to support this content. Next week's trivia is Gypsy Rose Blanchard is next week. Next week's trivia. So if you're wondering what is next week's trivia, I want to read up on next week's trivia beforehand so I have a better idea about what the trivia might be about. Next week's trivia is on Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Jersey Shore reruns. Thank you to everyone for playing along tonight. I hope that each and every one of you had fun. You enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something. But that wraps up the actual trivia portion. The chat is still open like it always is afterwards. Not indefinitely, but it's open. Yeehaw, says Pippadot. Me and Pippadot have been, emailing each other about that. And it just happened to be that, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was coming up. One of the things that we discussed. Is she pregnant or back in prison? Says asked Rykart. I don't know. To tell you the truth, right now, I'm guessing probably pregnant, not back in prison. But I don't know. The Gypsy, I've had 3 different trivia nights that are finished tonight. Then I've got Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and then I have another one that is on general. It's basically filled of leftover questions for trivia night that I never got to. So you might be wondering, what is left over from Gerald Stano? All right, let's see here. What kind of trivia that I did not get on the actual trivia list tonight for Gerald Stano? Oh, but the mantra that I was talking about before he was electrocuted, that he was mumbling to himself. He kept on saying, he's referring to himself in a third party. He said I lost control, as what he was mumbling to himself. I lost control. He referred to himself that way a lot. And why did you do this? I lost control. What journalist or true crime author publicly questioned the validity of all of Stano's confessions? That was Michael Newton. He is just one of the people out there that really seriously questions the validity of Stano's confessions. Which victim's case did detectives use as leverage to get Stano to start confessing? Donna Johnson. Yeah. In his interview with Paul Crow, he said he referred to himself as the protector of moral, punishing bad girls for their behavior. He went on from there. What type of women did Stano claim he respected and therefore didn't target to murder? He said he respected good girls who didn't dress provocatively. Stano said that he, growing up as a young man, he idolized Bonnie and Clyde, the gangster, during the Prohibition era, Bonnie and Clyde. What item did Stano reportedly keep from from at least one of his victims earrings. Stano made a chilling statement during his final interview. I guess I told you can't kill what's already dead. But that's just some of the trivia questions that that I did not get on tonight's trivia. And I've got not this coming week. Next one is Gypsy Rose Blanchard. The next week after that is questions like that just they didn't make it to the first cut for trivia night. So, and I've got stacks of these things, questions that never got, released and used in a trivia night. I mean, I could just dump them all on you and have like 100 trivia questions, that, random about, killers that never made it to trivia night. But nobody's got time for that. When they have a child and scam people and the system like her mother was doing. Yeah, she killed her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard. Gypsy Kings. Aren't they a motorcycle gang? Gypsy Kings. Purple says, stay safe out there. You never know who's going to be standing next to you next. And you never know who's going to be knocking at your door. No truer words have ever been said. So when I was watching my ring cam, neighbor kid in my front yard, and he had knocked on the door. He didn't ring didn't push the button for the ring cam, but he was knocking at my door. I don't know why. I guess I'll find out later. Maybe he's trying to earn extra money. He's always doing something, like yard cleanup work, mowing, something. Good kid. Oh, the Gypsy Kings are a music group. Man, what am I thinking of then? Gypsy. Gypsy. I'm thinking of Gypsy Jokers. Gypsy Jokers are a motorcycle gang. Gypsy Jokers. The Gypsy Kings is a musical group. So are the Radiator Kings. I think I'm probably only like one of a handful of people who still are subscribed and listen to the Radiator Kings. They had a really promising career, and then they just seem to have vanished. Don't know why. Well, thank you, South. Thank you very much, for being here tonight with us, and everyone who is here, and played along. I'm glad you all can make it tonight. I hope that you'll come back, share it, tell other people about it. I want to see more people join us. The more people here, the merrier. I have to, and I do this every 6 months. So this is not something just at random that I do. Every 6 months, I sit down and I look at what is working and what isn't working. And if it's not working, what can I do to change it to make it fit the audience more, and to, for people, to get a longer retention? Is it because I'm not getting the hook in early enough in the video or the stream? Is it because I greet people and I'm talking too much and people don't want to hear my voice? I get that. I'm tired of hearing my voice. But I don't know. But I go through everything. Every single type of program that I put up. Shorts, long-form videos, live streams, trivia. I go through it all. Every 6 months. And that's what I did. And then for a year and a half, the Saturday morning program just was not making it at all. But I just kept on going at it. Like, maybe things will change. And that is the definition of insanity, is to keep on doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But when would it be a better time? I used to ask people and put a poll up on on YouTube for my subscribers. It wasn't just general public, just for subscribers only, and ask them when's a better time to do these things. And then I would see those people who answered or commented on the poll, they never showed up. They wouldn't show up to the lives at all. So I understand. Our lives all are in flux, and I would love to have a stable, timeline. Like this happens this time, this happens in this time on this day and day. But it moves around. I enjoy, greeting people. I do. People are not just a number to me, in this entire thing. You all have names and you have lives and you have a voice that should be heard. It should be, and what you want to watch and what you're interested in should be the content that we're all enjoying together. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's trivia. I want to thank everyone again for being here. If you would give this a thumbs up on the way out, I would appreciate it if you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, give it a thumbs down. If you're watching this afterwards, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you did like or didn't like about the actual trivia night itself. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope that you all have a great week. And remember, as Purple said, you never know who's going to be standing next to you next. And you never know who's going to be knocking at your door. In the meantime, bye, everyone. Ain't that the truth, right, Card? No truer things have been put in the comment section than that. That's what sells print. That's what sells ads. That's what brings in viewership. Gossip. Make it all up. Lie your ass off, and then tell people that it's the truth. That is what sells. But you have a great week. You stay safe out there on the roads of America, right, Cart? Until next time.